The secrets in the universe are limitless and vast. From the furthest reaches of space to the very center of Earth, scientists have done their best to unravel these mysteries using their expertise and contemporary technology. Our ancestors could never have imagined the places where scientists have traveled. Each and every one of us has pondered what lies beneath the surface of our planet. Experts have been debating this question for the past 50 years. Just how low can we actually go? To drill a hole deeper than any other, they have been working. The ultimate target is to get to the Earth's mantle, which makes up at least 40% of the planet. The mantle is nearly 1,800 miles thick, and the radius of the Earth is about 4,000 miles. Unbelievably, our planet's mantle serves as the main force driving its ongoing evolution. The majority of Earth's history is geologically preserved in it. In 1958, Project Molehole marked the beginning of scientific attempts to penetrate the mantle. American engineers who rejected the project bore a hole in the Pacific Ocean floor off the coast of Guadalupe, Mexico. But before the drills could reach the mantle, Congress cut off funding, forcing the project to be shelved. So exactly what would we discover if we dug a hole all the way to the core of the Earth? In any case, you can get a general idea from a Soviet Union project. Today we'll tell you everything about its beginnings. Why did this world's deepest hole just get sealed? A scientific drilling project was given the Soviet Union's moniker, Kola's Super Deep Hole. It is situated on the Kola Peninsula in the Penchensky district, not far from the Russian-Norwegian border. Drilling as far into the Earth's crust as humanly possible was the project's primary objective when it was first launched. A drilling rig from the Ural Mesh 15,000 series was used for the same purpose after the Ural Mesh 4E was used to start drilling on May 24, 1970. The Kola Super Deep Hole was the deepest man-made hole ever created in 1979. Drilled by branching from a central hull, the 23-centimeter diameter boreholes, in 1989, a hole that reached a depth of 12,262 meters was deemed to be the deepest man-made point on Earth. In terms of true vertical depth, it is the world's deepest borehole. Additionally, it held the record for the longest borehole in the world in terms of measured depth for 2 full decades before being surpassed in 2008 by the 2,200-meter-long and 89-meter-long Hell Shaheen oil well in Qatar. In order to reach a depth of almost 7,000 meters, a serial drilling rig called Ural Mesh 4E that was used for oil drilling was slightly modified when drilling got underway in 1970. In 1974, the Ural Mesh 15,000, a brand new drilling rig created specifically for the job, was set up on the site. It was so called because the new target depth was 15,000 meters. The Bertha Rogers hole in Washita County, Oklahoma, broke the record for deepest hole in a single hole in June 1979 with the Kola Super Deep Hull. The Bertha Rogers hull was incredibly deep, 9,583 meters. In October 1982, the first hull submerged to a depth of 11,662 meters. The second hole was drilled starting from the first hole's 9,300-foot depth in January 1983. In the same year, the second hole's drill reached a distance of 12,000 meters. It was a significant accomplishment, so drilling was halted for a full year to celebrate. Numerous celebrations and scientific outings were held at the location during this time. Following the pause in drilling in 1984, there was a breakdown that was largely caused by this period. The drill string for the twisted off was left in the hole on September 27, 1984, at a depth of 12,066 meters. It was 5,000 millimeters long. A third hole was drilled starting in September 1986 and reached a depth of 12,262 meters in 1989, starting 7,000 meters from the first hole. Even though it wasn't as much as the scientists had hoped, it was still a success. A fourth hole was drilled after a third hole's drilling was restarted from a depth of 9,653 meters in June 1990 due to another breakdown. Following a depth in drilling in April 1992, a fifth hole that was 11,882 meters deep was started again in April 1994. Drilling was permanently halted in August of 1994 due to a lack of funding. Unexpectedly high temperatures were found for this depth and area. The temperature was expected to only rise to 100 degrees Celsius, according to experts. The actual temperature, however, was close to 180 degrees Celsius. They understood it would not be possible to drill any deeper. Unexpectedly, the Earth's density decreased and its porosity increased. Since the rocks down there behaved almost like plastic as a result of the high temperatures, drilling was practically impossible. The Kohler super deep borehole reached the Archean rocks at the bottom after penetrating the continental crust of the Baltic Shield for a third of its depth. The continental crust of the Baltic Shield is about 35 kilometers thick. This project has been put on hold while thorough geophysical investigations are conducted. When scientists discovered that there was no transition from granite to basalt at depths of about 7 kilometers, where the seismic wave velocity showed discontinuity, they were quite perplexed. They understood that the true cause was metamorphic change in the granite rock. Beyond the fact that the rock there has been deeply fractured and it was saturated with water, unlike the surface water, is what is causing the change in seismic wave velocity. Due to the impermeable rock layer that lies above the water's source in the deep crust, it was unable to surface. The vast quantities of hydrogen gas were a further peculiar discovery. It was so plentiful that the scientists said the drilling mud coming out of the hole was boiling with hydrogen. In 1992, a seismic crustal cross-section was successfully extracted from the well as part of a global geophysical experiment. The working group, Colon 92, included a wide range of participants from many different specialties. Researchers from the universities of Glasgow and Edinburgh in Scotland, the University of Bergen in Norway, and numerous Russian institutions engaged in earth science research were also present. The experiment was meticulously captured on video by Professor David Smythe. 1995 saw the end of all drilling operations. The scientific teams were moved to a federal state unitary subsidiary company known as COLA, super deep reduced in and reoriented to a thorough examination of the exposed portion of the Earth's crust. The equipment was partially liquidated and partially transferred to a private company in 2007, and the scientific team was permanently disbanded. Even the company was liquidated in 2009 due to its lack of profitability. The Kola Subari borehole site had been abandoned completely. However, the Kohler Super D borehole SG3 still holds the record for depth in the world. It is still the deepest artificial point on Earth at an astounding 12,262 meters. Sincere to say, the scientists didn't really expect to discover any life at that depth in the Earth's crust. However, nature wounded them with its enigmatic and mighty ways, just as it had in every other place they had traveled. They discovered fossilized plankton even though nothing was actually alive that deep. Even though the geological information gleaned from this unfathomably deep hole is eye-opening, it's the paleontological revelations that have everyone in awe. The Kola Super Deep borehole is almost 6.4 kilometers deep. Fossils were found that are thought to be at least 2 billion years old. Despite the harsh environment in the house, these microscopic plankton fossils were largely unharmed when they were discovered. These fossils allowed scientists to establish that at least 25 different species of plankton were present at such a depth in the Earth. According to experts, if they had continued their exploration, they would have discovered more species. More information about the biodiversity in the depths of the Earth couldn't be discovered after the drilling was stopped because the organic matter surrounding these organisms proved to be quite resilient to the atmosphere down there. The fall of the powerful Soviet Union, according to many, is what caused it to stop. But the majority of scientists believe it was only one of the causes. Due to the fact that water was discovered there, some researchers hold this opinion. Being able to adapt and live here in the past was only fair for some form of life. A peculiar occurrence caused the water to form. Following these atoms squeezing out of the rock, the intense pressure inside forced hydrogen and oxygen atoms out as well. Because of the impermeable rock layer above, the water was unable to escape. Additionally, many conspiracy theorists conjectured that Russia's decision to halt the project was influenced by the discovery of these plankton fossils. In reality, though, this was not the cause for the cancellation of the Kohler Super Deep borehole project. However, it got too hot to drill any further. In actuality, it was noted at the time that the equipment had been severely damaged by the heat. However, some theorists have even claimed that the Soviets never really stopped digging, even after their country had been divided into several separate nations, which is undoubtedly false because there is proof that the entire area had been sealed. People can visit the website to verify it too. the difficulty of keeping the ball increased. It was similar to trying to maintain a pit in the middle of a pot of hot soup. The sedimentary rocks discovered at depths of up to 6,800 meters were also dated by this excavation to the Proterozoic era, which began about 2.4 billion years ago. The first geologic era, beginning at 2.7 billion years ago, is thought to be when the deeper granitic strata were first formed. The borehole also uncovered lithium, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide, all of which are enriched in the Earth in addition to hydrogen and oxygen. Despite being the thinnest layer of all, the Earth's core has remained impenetrable to human drilling even up to this day. Even so, it would be impossible to drill the inner core without first drilling through solid iron, which in theory should be simple. Because the gravity is so low near the Earth's core, this would actually be quite challenging. Even though the Kola super deep hole is incredibly deep, it has only penetrated the Earth's crust by a third. But at the time, it was the furthest anyone had traveled. Today, tourists seeking adventure visit the desolate site of the formerly thrilling Kola super deep borehole. Before it was permanently shut down in 2005 because of a lack of funding, the project experienced its fair share of ups and downs. Although the drilling and research equipment has been removed from the site, the information gleaned from the hole is still being examined by specialists all over the world. The hull was later welded. The hull was eventually welded, shut up with a metal cap, which is still visible covering it. Despite the short lifespan of the Kola super deep borehole project, scientists continue to try to delve deeper into the Earth. Researchers passed through seismic plates and experienced temperatures as high as 315 degrees Celsius while working on the German Continental Deep Drilling Program in Bavaria in 1990. Even the Germans, however, were only able to travel 6 miles before running out of money. Now, while oil may not have been a compelling enough reason to delve so deeply into the Earth, science and exploration most certainly were. This is likely the reason why in May 2008, Maersk Oil used a GSF rig 127 run by Transocean, also known as the Hell Shahina oil, to drill the BD-04A extended reach well, which set a world record. Well, it took just 36 days to drill safely to a second length of 12,290 meters. When compared to how long it took to drill the Kola super deep borehole, that is incredibly quick. Do you believe that one day scientists will be able to drill through the Earth's core? If you do, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and press the bell icon because we are going to bring it to you first.